Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Tuesday, January 27th, 2026, and I have to say, if you've been glancing at your phone, checking NBA scores the last couple of days, you probably have a bit of whiplash. The league is just, it's chaotic right now.
Chaos is the only word for it. It really feels like the whole season got flipped on its head. We've got records being broken, confusing blowouts where really good teams are losing by 40.
Yeah.
And we have rumors floating around that aren't just like normal trade chatter. They're potentially history-altering events.
Exactly. So our mission today is pretty simple. We are going to cut through that noise. We've got a stack of game breakdowns, some truly wild stat sheets, and insider reports we need to unpack. We're going to talk about Luka Dončić doing things that seem impossible in a Lakers uniform, a shocking turnaround in Charlotte, the Orlando Magic's complete free fall, Donovan Mitchell
Oh, man.
just owning a whole state, and then Cooper Flag headlining All-Star Weekend, and the big one, the rumor that Giannis Antetokounmpo may have already played his last game for the Bucks.
It's a heavy lineup. And honestly, if you look at all these stories together, there's a theme here. It really feels like a changing of the guard is happening right in front of our eyes.
It really does. So let's just jump right in. Let's start in Chicago. Lakers beat the Bulls 129-118. Now, looking at the box score, the headline is obviously Luka. He dropped 46 points.
Yeah.
And look, I love seeing Luka work his magic. The way he controls the pace it's art. But I have to admit, it is tough to see him drop a 40-piece on your team.
Oh, it is demoralizing. You just feel helpless.
Yeah.
But I want to zoom in on how he did it, because that's what makes this performance so scary for the rest of the league.
Okay.
Usually when a guy drops 46, you expect him to have taken, 30, 35 shots. It's volume. But Luka, he shot 15 of 25 from the floor.
That is 60% shooting. For a perimeter player taking the shots he takes, that's just absurd.
It's absurd. And he was 8 of 14 from 3. I mean, he was just on fire. But here's the detail that really stood out to me from the game notes. In the first quarter, Luka had 3 turnovers. He looked a little loose with the ball, testing the Bulls' defense.
Okay, so a shaky start.
Right. But for the rest of the game, the final 3 quarters.
Let me guess. 0.
0. Not a single one.
0 turnovers for the final 3 quarters while handling the ball on pretty much every possession.
Exactly. And that's what separates the stars from the legends.
Yeah.
He solved the defense in real time. He just saw what they were doing and decided, okay, I'm not making mistakes anymore. It was total control.
And he made some history doing it. With this game, Luka is now the fastest player to reach 2,000 points in a Lakers uniform. He did it in 65 games. He beat George Mikan's record.
Which is, that puts him in legendary company immediately. We're talking about records that have stood since the Minneapolis days.
Yeah.
But we have to give some credit to this supporting cast here.
Right. It wasn't a one-man show.
No, because Luka didn't win this 1-on-5.
Yeah.
Rui Hachimura came off the bench and his stat line just looked like a typo.
It was electric. 23 points on, 9 of 11 shooting.
Yeah, 9 of 11. When you have a role player giving you that kind of efficiency, it just changes everything. The defense can't just load up on Luka because Rui is punishing them.
And what about the defense? The Lakers' defense has been a punchline most of the season.
Well, they forced 15 turnovers and scored 23 points off.
No.
And that's the big takeaway. The Lakers still have flaws, but Luka is covering up so many of them. And when he's locked in defensively like he was in the third quarter, they look dangerous.
Speaking of dangerous, but in a surprisingly good way, let's pivot to the East. There is a buzz in Charlotte right now. The Hornets didn't just beat the 76ers, they dismantled them, 130-93.
They were up by 50 points in the fourth quarter. 50 in an NBA game.
Against the Sixers. I know Philly was missing Embiid and Paul George, but still, you don't lose by almost 40 just because a couple guys are out. How did this happen?
Well, it's about health and cohesion finally coming together. This was their 3rd win in a row. But the catalyst was Brandon Miller. He finished with 30 points, but get this, he did it on just 11 shots.
Wait. 30 points on 11 shots. That math, that barely makes sense.
It sounds broken, right? He went 9 of 11 from the field, hit his free throws, just lethal. He scored 26 of those points in the middle 2 quarters. It was a masterclass in efficiency.
Wow.
He's starting to look, as some people are saying, kind of Paul George-ish in the way he moves and shoots.
And on the other side of the ball, they just completely shut down Tyrese Maxey. Held him to, 6 points?
6 points on 3 of 12 shooting. That's the key. It wasn't just a shootout. They had a defensive game plan to swarm Maxey, and it worked perfectly. But here's the wildest stat from the game.
Okay.
The Hornets committed 25 turnovers.
Oof. Usually if you turn the ball over 25 times, you get blown out. You don't win by 37.
Exactly. That's how dominant their shooting and their defense were otherwise. It just shows that when they have their guys, LaMelo running the show,
Yeah.
Miller scoring, they're a problem. In fact, for the month of January 2026, the Charlotte Hornets have the best net rating in the entire NBA.
That is a sentence I really did not expect to say this year. Charlotte Hornets, best net rating. But while they're surging, we have to talk about the flip side in the East. The Orlando Magic seem to be in a free fall.
Yeah.
Lost their fourth straight, falling 114-98 to the Cavs.
It's becoming a full-blown crisis in Orlando. I mean, you look at the numbers, their offense is just stagnant. They're near the bottom of the league, 20th or worse, and it's starting to remind people of the struggles from the late Dwight Howard era.
You mean that clunky 4-out, 1-in style where nobody can hit a shot?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
It's just really tough to watch. And it
Yeah.
feels like we're watching the Save Us Paolo show every single night. He scored 37 in this game, but he looked completely isolated. He was on an island.
Zero help. That's the story. Desmond Bane, who they brought in to be that secondary scorer, had 10 points in the first quarter and then just vanished.
When your second option does that, the defense just collapses on your star. And then you look at Franz Wagner and Jalen Suggs. I mean, Suggs is coming back from an injury, so you give him some slack, but they were missing wide-open shots. The team shot 11 of 39 from three. And even worse, they were blowing layups. The stats show they shot below 50% in the paint.
Below 50% in the paint, that's point blank.
It is, and that usually points to a lack of spacing. You can't win in this league missing shots at the rim. They are just slipping. They're sitting 8th in the East now, wasting these prime Banchero performances.
Well, the guy who beat them, Donovan Mitchell, he certainly didn't have trouble scoring. We have to talk about him because he has been on an absolute tear.
Tear might be an understatement. I mean, let's put this run in perspective. The Cavs played the Magic twice in 3 days. On Saturday, Mitchell scored 36.
Okay.
On Monday, he dropped 45. That is 81 points in 2 games against the same team.
He just tormented them. He basically owns property in Orlando now. And again, the efficiency is what stands out. He had 26 points in the first half alone on just 11 shots.
He was getting wherever he wanted. People are comparing his play style right now to Dwayne Wade, that explosive slashing, but with a lethal three-point shot that Wade never really had.
That is a terrifying combination. You go under the screen, he pulls up, you go over, he just slashes right by you like Wade.
Precisely, and the context matters too. The Cavs are winning gritty. They're missing key guys. Garland is out, Mobley has been in and out, but Mitchell is just carrying them. It's not just scoring, it's hustle, it's winning the scrap. He's making a legitimate MVP case.
Okay, let's look toward the future for a minute. The NBA announced the player pool for the All-Star Rising Stars game coming up February 13th in LA, and the headliner is not a surprise, Cooper Flagg.
As he should be. Flagg was the #1 pick in 2025, and he has lived up to every bit of the hype. He's averaging, 18.8 points, 6.4 rebounds, and over 4 assists a game for the Mavericks.
But the narrative around him has changed since draft night, right? He wasn't supposed to be doing this much this soon.
No, not at all. The plan in Dallas was to ease him in. Remember, in this timeline, they have Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis. The idea was for Flagg to be the third piece.
But injuries had other plans.
Exactly. Both Kyrie and AD are sidelined. So Flagg has been forced to be the guy. Instead of hitting the rookie wall, he just smashed right through it and dropped 42 on the Jazz a couple weeks ago.
He's not just a rookie, he's a centerpiece. So for the game itself, can you just remind everyone of the format? It's a little different.
Sure. It's a 4-team tournament. You have 3 teams made up of NBA rookies and sophomores, and then 1 team made up of players from the G League.
Okay, so young NBA guys versus the G League hopefuls.
Right. And the 3 NBA teams are going to be drafted by some legendary coaches. It's Carmelo Anthony, Vince Carter, and Tracy McGrady.
That is a lot of scoring power on the sidelines. I'd love to see the coaches suit up.
I think they could still get a bucket or two. But yet, Flagg is the main attraction, but you'll see other guys like Conquepel from the Hornets and VJ Edgecombe from the Sixers in there too.
All right, we have to get to the heaviest topic of the day. And honestly, this one feels like it could just change the entire landscape of the league. A report from Mark Spears suggests Giannis Antetokounmpo has, quote, played his last game in a Bucks uniform.
It's a bombshell. When you hear phrasing that specific from an insider like Spears, you have to pay attention. This isn't just fan speculation, it feels like real intel.
So, unpack this for us. Why now? Why would he have played his last game in January?
It's kind of a perfect storm of the team's performance and his health. The Bucks are 18-26. They're 11th in the East, not even in the play-in. And on top of that, Giannis has this calf injury.
And the timeline for that injury seems suspiciously murky.
Very murky. First it was 4 to 6 weeks. Now Doc Rivers is saying no timetable. And this all leads to what some are calling the stealth tank theory.
Explain that, because you don't usually tank when you have a superstar like Giannis.
Well, the logic is all about asset management. If the Bucks trade him now, before the February 5th deadline, they get a massive haul to restart. Or even if they don't trade him, if they just sit him with this no timetable injury, they lose more games.
Which improves their draft pick.
Exactly. But if Giannis comes back in a few weeks, plays like a superhero, and drags them to a few meaningless wins, they might finish 10th. They'd probably lose in the play-in anyway, but those wins would destroy their draft odds. The incentive is to shut him down or move him.
And there's already buzz that teams are calling.
The phones are ringing off the hook. Insiders are saying teams are trying to get a deal done now. They smell blood in the water. They know Milwaukee is stuck.
It just feels surreal. I mean, Giannis is the Bucks. He brought them a championship. He stayed when he could have left.
It really does feel like the end of an era. Doc Rivers is saying there's no thought of shutting him down, but the insiders think the writing is on the wall. If he gets moved, it's a complete reset for Milwaukee and a massive power shift.
It really puts the life cycle of a star into perspective.
It does. And it raises a really important question for me and for you listening to think about. If Giannis moves after everything he built there, does that officially close the door on the era of the one-team superstar? In this modern NBA, is it even possible anymore?
That is something to think about. It certainly feels like loyalty is becoming a luxury. We'll be tracking all of these stories as we get closer to the trade deadline.
I'm going to be a wild couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening. Please comment, Leia, like, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, please leave 5-star review. It will help the channel grow. Until next time, please check our previous episodes.